Welcome to Earth's Mightiest Weirdos. We have a smaller panel than we are used to tonight, but no panel has ever been as special. Then I'm going to welcome in our first guest, her first time on the show, the special guest, Miss Marsha from the Nerd Emporium's Extravaganzas. Marsha, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It is a pleasure to have you. And along with Marsha comes the Nerd Emporium herself, Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm ready to talk some Miss Marvel.
This is your first time discussing Miss Marvel on Weirdos, correct?
I think so, yes.
Sounds good. So we'll get both of your general reactions to the show in general. A few bit of I guess housekeeping news here on Earth's Mightiest Weirdos. We are not going to be live next Monday because it is the 4th of July. I have to work. It's the 4th of July. We're just going to miss a week. So we will be back in 2 weeks from tonight to discuss episodes 4 and 5 of Miss Marvel, getting ready for the finale, and Thor Love and Thunder will have just come out as well. So this is our last episode before Thor Love and Thunder comes out. Marsha, are you excited for Thor Love and Thunder?
I am.
I have to assume you like his muscles, if nothing else.
No, I don't think it was just the muscles. I like his long hair.
Okay.
I like his long hair.
She's glad the long hair is back.
Yes.
I like
And
that.
eyebrows. The eyebrows look nice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the eyebrows are not as blonde, I suppose. We do a little bit of a housekeeping here. We do have Katie in the comments. Happy birthday to Miss Katie B. So it is
birthday, Katie.
a pleasure to have Katie with us here, spending her birthday with us. Anthony says, "Go Lightning." Well, that didn't age so well. Stanley Cup. Let's get into he is back. It has been a little bit of time since he's been here, but he's back. Hello, son.
Hello.
It is the world according to Jax. So, Jax, why don't you tell everybody where we went last Wednesday?
We went to a Avalanche versus Lightning hockey game.
We went to Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final, right?
Mhm.
And who won?
The Avalanche.
The Avalanche won in overtime, right? So Anthony says, "Go Lightning." What do we say to Anthony?
I don't know.
Anthony's a Blues fan, so he had a really hard time this whole playoffs. But who won the Stanley Cup?
The Avalanche.
The Avalanche won the Stanley Cup.
Nice.
We've been partying ever since, and by partying, that means continuing to move out of our house into our new house. So, all right, Jax. Well, first we talked about Thor: Love and Thunder. We have our tickets. We're going to go 3:00 on Thursday, opening day. Are you excited to see Thor: Love and Thunder? Which character are you most excited to see? Why don't you talk into the mic?
Thor.
Thor. What about Korg, Valkyrie, Meek?
Probably Korger.
Yeah. I thought Korg would be the answer. Okay, perfect. Do you think Thor's going to live in this film?
Yes.
I hope so, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, now let's get into the big business of the show, Miss Marvel. We are 3 episodes into Miss Marvel. You haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. What do you think of the show, Miss Marvel?
I like it so far.
What is your favorite part of it? You really like when she extends her fist and she gets a giant fist and punches people. That's been pretty cool. Okay. What about her friend Bruno? We don't talk about Bruno? Or do you like Bruno?
I like Bruno.
Yeah, Bruno's pretty good, right? What do you think is going to be Kamala's next big thing that she does? You think she can grow giant? Or do you want to see her throw light at something?
Maybe she can. Maybe soon she'll be able to like do what she was trying to do, like make her fist super big.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah. Okay.
she'll be able to do that. Not like full grow.
Last question. Do you think we see Carol Danvers in this show?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. All right. Well, thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, that is the world according to Jax. It has been a few weeks, but we have been happy to have him. I think the last time he was on, he was talking about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I don't think there's anybody involved with this show that really particularly cared for that film. Marsha, I know you didn't like it either, right?
Right.
Yeah, we're all on the same page when it comes to that film. It is on Disney Plus if you want to check it out. It is not our cup of tea at all. Anthony says he likes the new background, wishing Katie a happy birthday. Maya is here. Justin is here. He's watching Ragnarok. Well, thank you for tuning out of Ragnarok and into Earth's Mightiest Weirdos.
Yeah.
Maya says two of her favorite ladies. Anthony says blonde eyebrows for life. And there we go. Anthony says there was too many men on the ice. I don't care. Likes Korg as well. Well, let's get into it. So, Sarah, this is your first time talking about Miss Marvel. Thank you so much to Alex Klein and the Earth's Mightiest Weirdos and Nerd Life Network family for the generous gift that was given to me at the end of last week's episode. I can't wait to be able to go out and hit the golf course with my wife and only my wife. That's going to be very exciting. Alex did a fantastic job in filling in for me last week, but we are very happy to be back tonight. So, Marcia, Miss Marvel, where do you stand on this show 3 episodes in?
I'm still not much of a fan of the show. I think it's still geared towards adolescents and young adults. I don't, it doesn't have the same appeal as the Avengers.
She did like all the action though in this past episode. She liked that more.
Especially when you combine it with Bon Jovi, right? So when you talk about it being geared more toward adolescents, kind of a Disney Channel feel, if you will, right. What did you think of Moon Knight? Because it was kind of the opposite end of the spectrum.
I wasn't much of a fan of Moon Knight either.
Okay. Just, we got to find that sweet spot. We need the Avengers to be involved.
There were several that have come out that I did like. I really liked Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay.
I liked Loki, and I'm looking forward to Loki coming back. I liked Hawkeye. I'm just sold on the original, Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems to me that they're bringing out now
too
many kids, so to speak, to take the place of the originals.
Yeah, and that's fair. I really like the character of Kate Bishop. She's kind of been my newest kind of replacement that I like the most. I know you are partial to Yelena as well, and Natasha, just the character of Black Widow in general. I think both of you are big fans of that. So I do expect big things to come from her. And when you talk about younger characters, like Yelena's still on the older side of that group, so it feels a little bit more adult, if you will. So okay, well, let's Sarah, how about you? Where do you stand on Miss Marvel currently?
I love it. I did expect it to be more Disney Channel-esque. So I kind of had I was managing my expectations going in, but it's getting like with every episode, it keeps surprising me how much I like it, how much I'm a fan. So it's winning me over big time.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I expected, like, for lack of a better term, I mean, we brought it up in the first episode, like a Lizzie McGuire kind of feel. Like the acting, particularly from Iman Vellani, has been very impressive to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's lived up to Marvel Studios standards, and for whatever reason, I didn't think it was going to.
I didn't either.
So that's been a nice change of pace. The character of, and I'm not going to beat this into a dead horse because Alex and Maya and David last week covered her character so well. The character of Nakia has been a revelation for me in this show. Just the way she's attacking that role. She's actually been my favorite character in the show so far. I really like the character of Nakia, and I'm really interested as to where they go next. When it comes to MCU tie-ins, this show has it at every turn. You've got Dark drones from Far From Home. You've got all the Edith drones. You've got all this stuff from Damage Control. Carol Danvers is everywhere, and she gets a massive name drop in this particular episode that I don't even know what it means, that we're going to talk about as well. But when it comes to tying it into the MCU, I'm a huge fan of that personally. Like, I hope that She-Hulk is going to do a lot of that too, where you just get call outs from, I mean, we know the Abomination's in it, and we know kind of what he's been up to, at least popping up in Shang-Chi. So we know there's going to be MCU tie-ins. Like Moon Knight had none of that. As much as I loved Moon Knight, We don't know where it fits into the MCU. There's
Yep.
no guessing as to where Miss Marvel fits into the MCU. So that I like. David says this show has so much more than a Disney Channel show. It's a shame people are so quick to put it in that box. I'm saying, David, that I'm not putting it in that box. I did put it in that box ahead of time because what we had seen before made it feel that way. And even after the first episode, it still had that cartoonish. I mean, you had the other not other personality, that not to go Moon Knight, but you had the cartoon version and kind of talking. That's kind of gone away, and I would like to see that get incorporated just a little bit more. But we'll see kind of where they go. But I'm not putting it into that Disney Channel box anymore. But let's get into talking about this third episode. We start going back to 1942, excuse me, and they come across looking for this bangle to get out of this dimension that they are trapped in. And they come across a blue arm. Sarah, you are the resident comic expert here, along with Alex, who joins us on this show. Check out Sarah at the Nerd Emporium on Instagram. But it's a blue arm. It has to be Kree, correct?
I would assume. I think that's a safe assumption. Yeah.
And there's Kree tie-ins in the comics to Miss Marvel as well, correct?
Yes, just the whole cosmic part of that. Yeah.
So do you have any theories on this second bangle? Because Aisha, her great-grandmother, was saying there needs to be 2 bangles to get them out. She was willing to give it a chance with 1. I'm not willing to put great-grandma Aisha in the villain camp quite like I am the rest of the newer Dimensionites, the clandestines. But Marcia, where do you stand on this entire history lesson of the MacGuffin being a piece of jewelry? Is that a hang up for you at all?
I don't think so.
That's good. It kind of is. It kind of was for me. Like, if all the powers lived within this bracelet, I wasn't really cool with that. The fact that the bracelet is basically a key to unlocking power, I'm good with it. But it was the whole, does the bracelet have power? That kind of bummed me out. But now that we're there, I'm with you. So, Sarah, do you have any theories on where the second bangle may be?
I don't know. It's a great question. I'm with you. I'm glad that the power is coming from inside of her. I don't think that she needs the second bangle. So I don't know. I have no idea. Has there been any speculation about it?
I have my own personal speculation. Jumping to the end of the episode, her daughter, Aisha's daughter, aka Kamala's grandmother, also saw the train. I would venture to say that has to be the reason that there is a second bangle in play at that point in time.
So you're saying Sana has the other one?
What would make sense to me? I think that's the only way she would see the train.
That's cool. Yeah.
So
maybe that's why she's trying to get them over there.
Yeah.
Because she was, I love how scatterbrained her grandmother is when she calls her to get information about Aisha, and she has no idea how to FaceTime. And she holds the phone at her forehead. Marcia, do you know how to FaceTime?
Yes, I do.
Sweet. Awesome. All right. Well, let's get into why is nobody asking the question of why are the clandestines been exiled in the first place? Like, we just say, hey, we were exiled. Doesn't that usually follow up with a, well, what'd you do? Like, like, what happened here? Like, it's kind of a weird, I'm not going to call it a plot hole because I do expect the answer to come.
Yeah.
But it's weird that even Kamala wouldn't ask the question.
I think, I don't know. I think
they're violent.
Well, but she didn't know that.
No, but I mean, he's saying, why did they get exiled?
Oh yeah.
They may be rebellious, or I mean, they're very.
It seemed like they wanted some sort of hostile takeover or something.
Yeah.
Yes, I was going to say a coup or something.
Well, and usually, like, somebody that has been exiled that's trying to do something that they shouldn't, like, isn't so forthcoming of, hey, we were exiled. Like, oh yeah, like some evil guy took over and he banished us or whatever. It's like, no, we did something wrong and we got exiled and we want to go back and basically take over. I think I mean, who's Kamala? She's 16. She's not going to question any of them. Kamran's hot. Like, it's all
exactly.
And Kamran is still 17. Like, the thing they've nailed about teenage life in this show is how when she gets called adorable by his mom, and she kind of gets that love struck look in her eye, and Kamra all embarrassed. Like they've nailed kind of the teenage aspect of it, and I've really enjoyed that.
Yep, I have too. I really liked the dance sequence when she got home after the party. That was cute.
Oh, in the second episode, where the
yeah.
camera froze and all the lights and all that kind of stuff. All right, Marsha, I'm going to come to you. I honestly do not think the superhero named Nightlight is that bad. Do you think it's horrible?
No, I don't think it's horrible. It's just
not great.
Yeah, it's not a superhero name, so to speak.
Monkey level.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're watching The Boys on Amazon, like Nightlight sounds like Starlight. It sounds just like a very similar superhero that would pop up in that show. But I honestly don't hate the character Nightlight. But Bruno, she's entrusting Bruno with a lot of information. She asks him, "Hey, you're good at math. Do you have any interdimensional time travel stuff off the top of your head, particularly that of the Nord dimension?" Sarah, what do you make of her relationship with Bruno specifically? And we're going to talk about him being called Brian because I feel a personal shout out there later
on. I think I like their relationship a lot. I think it's very sweet. I think the way that he treats her is very sweet also. And she obviously thinks very highly of him. She thinks that he's very knowledgeable. I like that she makes the jump from math to like interdimensional physics. It's amazing. It's cute.
That's what Spider-Man did. I mean,
yeah,
I'm good at math. Like, might as well.
Their relationship is a lot like Spider-Man and
MJ.
Yeah, because MJ's kind of the brainy one. Bruno's kind of the brainy one.
Oh, yeah. Checkerboard.
Yeah, I like that. Marsha, did you ever put anybody in the friend zone quite like Kamala's putting Bruno into the friend zone here?
Daryl.
Who's Daryl?
You put Daryl into the friend zone.
Who's Daryl?
Daryl, that guy that tried to date you.
Oh, no.
Daryl wouldn't have even been entrusted to be the guy in the chair.
No, poor Daryl.
Well, Damage Control shows up at the mosque, and this is really where a lot of real-world aspects are not being introduced. They've been introduced throughout this show, but there's a lot going on here, and this is where the character of Nakia really steps in, and I really enjoyed. She calls herself a board member, and the guy from off screen's like, "Hey, we're still counting the votes," and she goes, "Okay, well, prospective board member." All that she needs to know from the criminal system off of Law and Order reruns. Marsha, you strike me as a Law and Order fan.
Oh, definitely.
Would you say you learned more from the criminal justice system from Law and Order than you have anything else in your life?
Probably.
So it's working for Nakia as well. Yeah. And I do apologize. I do not know the mosque leader's name or even the title that they go by as the mosque leader, other than the leader of the mosque. But the way he feels emboldened to kind of talk back to the agent of, "Hey, take off your shoes next time," because I think they're just sick of being profiled, and obviously that's what they're going for here. And Nakia's. I'm excited for when Nakia comes around to what Kamala's doing, because Kamala was about to tell her, and then she freaked out about Nightlight being on the screen and kind of talking about all of that, and Kamala was about to tell her. So I don't know, but Sarah, where do you stand on this character of Nakia and just everything going on within the mosque and kind of the profiling aspect of everything?
I think it's great that they're kind of shedding some light on women's roles within the religion. I think there have been a lot of negative connotations within the, or not within, but just from the outside looking in. And I think just seeing how normal and sweet these people are, I think is incredibly helpful. But I love Nakia. I think she's feisty, and I think she's going to catch the shoe thief. I'm pretty sure.
Do you have any theories as to who the shoe thief is?
I don't know. I really don't. We might get some more clues.
We need to figure out who the shoe thief is. Well, and then her brother, Kamal's brother, gets like all of his shoes stolen, not just the one, as part of his party ahead of the wedding. I thought that was Sheikh Abdullah is the name. So it's Sheikh. There you go. Thank you so much, Alex. I knew you were going to be able to come through for me. All right. Well, let's get into talking about some of the meat and potatoes of kind of Kamala's, I guess, lack of a better term, motivations on what she's doing. She's talking to Sheikh Abdullah, and she says, I thought it would be cool to have a superhero who actually fights for us. That's throwing shade on all the heroes that we know a little bit. Marcia, did this strike you at all? Do you find this upsetting? Do you find this pretty par for the course?
Well, I don't really understand where she was going with that, because we've had Black Widow and
I don't have the answer as to where she was going either. So
yeah, I'm not sure.
Dead fish. I totally understand that. So
yeah.
Sarah, any thoughts there?
I think it's just a little bit of what I touched on with, you know, and I think Nakia mentioned it too, the good Muslim versus bad Muslim. I think having a hero that you know, kind of stands in front and is actually a good Muslim, and that's a theme in Miss Marvel, is what does it mean to be good and do good. So that's kind of what I took from it.
Well, and Sheikh Abdullah's line is, good isn't something you are, it's something you do, when usually it's completely defined as the exact opposite. Like, it's not your actions, like it's not just your actions, it's who you are that defines you as good. And he's saying kind of the opposite, which is really interesting to hear. Not that it's wrong by any stretch of the imagination. Something that you talked about with the mosque specifically, not only are they bringing this religion, this way of life to the forefront for us to see, those that may not be as familiar with it, they're also kind of using this platform to but to expose, again, a wrong choice of words, but talk about the role of women within the religion as well. They're not only is it bringing this to the forefront for all of us to see, but it's really doing kind of its own thing within the religion itself. I think that's really interesting. And Sheikh Abdullah seems to be a good kind of leader to be able to go the right way. The fact that Nakia was put on the board is really interesting. I'm kind of excited to see where they go with all that. But I really found his definition of good is something you do was interesting. Do you think he's onto her at all?
I absolutely. I told Marcia, it feels like Daredevil. It feels like Matt Murdock talking to his priest. It's got, like, I think the priest was onto him a lot earlier than we thought. But it's being good and doing good is a choice. It's one of the things that I love about Natasha, when she chose to be good. And I think that's the point they're driving home here. Anyone can choose to be good, to do good.
I'm with you. He kind of had that smirk on his face. Like, I think he's onto her. Yeah. And I think he knows something, especially with the amount of questions and the level of concern that she has. So we do see her open this mask. When do you think is it going to be stick with the Disney Plus episode? You get the costume reveal in the 6th episode, and that's just when we see the mask make its debut, or do you think it's coming sooner? Do you think the mask makes its debut before the rest of the costume? I
don't know. I think we might get the name first. I don't know. Because we haven't heard her come into the Ms. Marvel nomenclature yet. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm so excited to be along for the ride.
Well, it's gone off of the source material quite a bit already. So, like, really, not that you can use the source material to make predictions about everything anyway, but especially with this show, the fact that she's not an Inhuman, for one, like, it's kind of out of its, there was no Terrigen bomb, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of off the source material anyway. So who do you think coins the term? I kind of expected what was Zoe? Like, I'm kind of expecting Zoe to be the one to do it with her million Instagram followers of she was dressed like Captain Marvel, therefore she becomes Miss Marvel. Do you think that it's that simple, or do you think it's a Nick Fury level name drop that we're gonna get?
That's a good question. I thought maybe we would get Captain Marvel or Monica. Monica would make a lot of sense to tie us into Captain Marvel too. But yeah, I don't know.
I expect the name to come from Carol, or it, because I mean, Nightlight seems to be kind of around to stay. So
Yeah.
until somebody says otherwise, I would expect, like, but I don't think that mask is going to really hide her appearance for too long. So I don't know if she's going to be a Parker type character that's going to be hidden in the shadows.
Yeah.
Forever. Kamala's dad, he loves him a good hostess. Marsha, do you love that? What is the word that he uses? I can't even remember. Oh crap.
Hosting?
No, he talks about how fake the hostess cake is, basically.
Syntheticness.
Syntheticness, that's the word he uses. The syntheticness. Marsha, do you love a good hostess cake?
Used to.
Okay.
She likes key lime pie now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I love a good Twinkie, I'm not gonna lie.
Ding dongs were good.
There you go. Take that. The cupcakes too, with a little swirly thing.
Yeah. Yep. The ding dongs were just a little round, like this.
So Marsha, I would say, since you're not a huge fan of this show, I want to ask, and I think your answer is going to lead us into our next topic. Who seems to be your overall favorite character that you enjoy when they're on the screen the most? Is there one?
Her mom. Yeah, her mom is pretty funny.
Her mom.
She's pretty funny. I think for his intelligence, I think Bruno probably I would lean towards Bruno.
Okay. So that I expected the answer to be either Bruno or Kamala's dad, which kind of leads us into that interaction that they have at the convenience store where Bruno works. But he's doing, I mean, Kamala's dad's just kind of, interesting. You're reading about the djinn. Like, he not know anything. Like, it seems like he doesn't know much of anything. I think Kamala's dad, I just love how genuine he comes across, especially the conversation that he has with his son when he talks about how he has $738.49.
Yes.
And that's more money than I had when I got married. So like, he's doing okay. But I just love how Kamala's dad is just always trying to help, and he can't even connect the dots because, oh, my daughter like has all these questions about this bracelet, and then all of a sudden, like, he's researching gin. Okay, like, and then he just reads it for him. Like, I just think it's funny.
I think the mom knows more about that bracelet than she's letting on.
Yeah, because when it showed up in the mail, she had this look in her face like something's going on. And I mean, especially if her mother has bracelet number 2, then all the more sense that I would think. I wonder if her mom's ever put the bracelet on. I wonder if her mom also has that same connection and has just decided to leave that in her past. I do expect that we're going to get that answered.
Do you think she separated them on purpose then? If you need 2 of them, do you think she sent that one away on purpose?
I think Aisha sent them away on. I think Aisha kept them apart. Like,
yeah, okay.
There's way more to the story of Aisha saying we'll try it with 1 because she's been told she needs 2, but we're going to try it with 1 anyway. It feels like she was trying to get them separated on purpose, and everything went exactly how it was supposed to. Sarah, do you think we're going to Pakistan in the very next episode? Yeah. Mom.
I do think so. I think we're gonna see Karachi. I guess it would be the next episode. I'm excited.
They could spend the next episode kind of her basically having a meeting with her mom to kind of say come clean, for lack of a better term, and then go to Pakistan in the next episode. But you said Karachi, is that something from the comics, or is that just a town that I'm?
Yeah, no, Karachi. So Karachi was on the train it was the word on the train that her and her grandma both saw. Okay. But it's also in the comics, it's where her family is from. I think her brother was even born there. and so it might just be like a going back home type thing to put all the pieces together.
Aisha's still alive, right?
I don't know. They kind of make you think that, right?
I think she's still alive.
Yeah,
Like hiding out, for lack of a better term.
it's possible. Yeah,
And maybe maybe
can't find her.
Yeah. And I think the clandestines finally stopped looking for her because she's probably hidden so well. Yeah. I'm leaning toward the fact that she's probably still alive. They don't seem like they're exactly easy to kill. Because I don't think Kamran's dead either, even though they kind of want you to. I mean, I don't think they even really want you to think that he's just knocked out. But
yeah.
Well, let's get into this conversation, and this is where I actually want to spend a little bit of extra time. Bruno's talking to Kamala about just everything going on, and his exact quote is, "Carol Danvers would be reckless. Maybe it's not such a bad thing that you're not her." Sarah, what's the basis for this comment?
She's a little bit of a hothead in the comics, so
right.
I don't know. Yeah, because we know that Monica is mad at her for some reason, right? So I'm wondering what she did that has people kind of I don't know if Bruno's ticked off at her when he says that. I don't know what the connotation is, but I want to know what she did. Like,
it's not like the general public thinks she did something wrong when it comes to the endgame battle, because in Sloth Baby Productions in the first episode, she talks about how Carol Danvers comes in, saves the day, takes down Sanctuary 2. She does all of that kind of stuff. So it's not like there's a negative connotation to what she did during the endgame battle. So there's clearly, maybe there's just simple resentment for her not coming back. Like that's where I think Monica is coming from, is it's just Carol was gone, her and Maria got sick, and all these things happened, and Carol was nowhere to be found. That's where I assume the resentment's coming from Monica's standpoint. But for Bruno to say something for a superhero that, as far as we know, hasn't really been around, so then she's done two things on Earth, both of which have saved everything, and being reckless was neither of those things. I found that to be a very interesting line.
Yeah, I did too. And in the comics, she is a hothead. She is a little bit reckless. She acts before she thinks. She's kind of like Tony. The whole what is it? Ready, shoot, aim, or whatever Obadiah Stane tells him. It's kind of like that. So I don't know if that's what he was referring to, or.
It was interesting. Marcia, do you think that Carol Danvers is reckless?
She never appeared to be so to me. I mean, I'm thinking of
in the MCU.
Yeah, right. Of course, I'm not a comic book reader like Sarah's. Always, she fills me in, and but the movies I've seen, I can't imagine her being reckless.
Yeah, she's Air Force.
The only thing I could think that would justify the line, except for using the comics as inspiration, which obviously could be the biggest way they wrote this line, unless something happens in Captain Marvel 2 where we're actually jumping back in time a little bit to explore post-Endgame Carol Danvers and her doing something wrong, feeling like she needs to leave. I really don't know what would inspire this line other than Carol being a hothead in the comic books like you talked about. But that really stood out to me from an MCU standpoint. They don't, quote unquote, make these mistakes. Like it feels like it's leading somewhere. And I'm wondering what Bruno's leaning to. I just don't know. It really stood out to me though, especially on the second and third rewatch of what's his end game here? Intended, but I have also decided that Bruno is just Neil Patrick Harris Jr.
He is. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's just the suit, like looking like Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother, but still. We do get a little bit more intention, or a little more lead into Kamran's intentions, saying, hey, just focus on the wedding. Like Kamran's clearly not in the hurry that the rest of the clandestines are.
Yeah.
We know Alex told us last week that Kamran is an enemy within the comic universe. Do you think Kamran is going to be an ally for the rest of the series? Where do you think Kamran ends up?
To me, it feels like Kamran's mom is taking that place of the villain, with the villain turn.
She's not involved in the comics.
I actually don't know that.
Okay.
So, but from what we've seen, that's what it feels like to me, because he does seem genuine. Like, I know we're going to talk about it, but he keeps calling Bruno Brian. I think he genuinely likes Kamala, and so
I think he was trying to protect her. So
Well, he stood between those very strong people,
Yes.
including his mother
Right.
and Kamala. Like, it'd be a heck of a ruse to put on to then flip the script later on.
yep, I
'Cause,
agree.
like, if it would be now's not the time, like, I would be leaning toward Kamran's eventually gonna do her dirty, but it doesn't really feel like that's the case. So it does feel like Kamran's gonna be around to stay for maybe as part of the team. I really don't know what to expect, but I do like his character. Him showing up at the wedding in a black hoodie may have been a bit of a suspect choice, but
Yeah.
that's all right. But this wedding sure seemed like it would be the wedding of my lifetime. I don't think I would ever have as much fun at any wedding as I would at that wedding. Marcia, have you ever been to a wedding that seemed like it was that much of a party?
Yeah, I think so.
My sister.
You were not at my wedding then. 'Cause it was not that kind of party.
Oh, okay.
My sister's wedding was really, really fun. Marcia was getting down on the dance floor at my sister's wedding.
Nice.
It
Doing
was,
the Macarena?
yeah.
Awesome.
Gloria Gaynor. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Sarah, in the world of cultural representation, all that they're accomplishing within this show, what just from this wedding scene, because in the grand scheme of anything as it relates to this story, I don't think anything happened during these 5-6 minutes dancing and everything else that is going to have any impact on the story. Yet I do think that these 5 or 6 minutes were extremely important. What in this wedding scene stood out to you?
I think the head touch, just explaining culturally what that means.
Bruno's being willing to like learn everything he possibly can, kind of like the rest of the audience, which really helps.
Yes. Yep. I think that the effort put in by Bruno, and then the surprise when Amir, it turns out that Amir has also learned the dance for Taisha, and surprised her that way. I think it does such a good job of just shedding some light on customs that we don't really know a whole lot about.
And they've spent almost no time with it, yet they have been able to tell a story around Taisha's character, specifically that she's a convert to this religion, that her parents are not converts to this religion. They still support their daughter. They sit with her up on the altar. They even participate in the dance later in the wedding. Yeah. They're doing what they can, even though they're not converts to the religion, which is also just there's lessons within that as well. Yep. It's been really, really neat to just see the eye-opening that's happening for people around stuff like this. And I've really enjoyed a lot of it. When Kamala pulls the alarm and her brother's whole thing, let me grab the money. Like, he runs back to the stage, grabs the money, and then runs away. I thought it was fantastic. Sarah, you brought it up. Why does Kamran keep calling Bruno Brian? I just assume it's because he's a massive Earth's Mightiest Weirdos fan, and that's just what it is. But why do you think he can't get the name right? Does he just not care? Is that really all that are they trying to hint to us maybe his intentions aren't so pure because of this?
I think it's a little bit of alpha male, maybe a little bit. He wants.
You think he's doing it on purpose?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just I've never been an alpha male. Maybe that's why I can't read. Maybe that's why I just can't read what he's doing. But Marcia, where do you stand on Kamran, other than the fact that he's pretty hot?
Well, it'll be interesting to see if it does progress, but right now I don't see him as a supporter of what his mother and the rest of them are doing. I think he supports Kamala and her family because he was trying to warn them
Yeah.
and get them out of there.
You think that's a full turn for him? You think he's completely changed teams and that's it? He's Team Kamala now.
I think so, or else he was just never into what the clandestines were trying to do.
Right.
And he was just kind of along for the ride to see what would happen.
He took quite the spill.
Yeah.
With a couple of guys that flipped the switch pretty quickly. Like they all seemed pretty friendly at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
They portrayed them exactly how Kamala took them. She goes,
Right.
no, that can't be true. Like, I'll just go talk to him. And he's like, you're not understanding. Like, they will kill everybody here. Like,
Yeah.
go talk to them. But I thought that flip of the script, not surprising. And I'm glad we didn't waste a bunch of time with her trying to trust them either. I'm glad we did this whole thing in one episode, and we've still got half the show to go to see kind of where we're going to go.
Yep. Agreed.
We did get a kitchen chase scene. Marsha, I want to ask you, what kitchen scene is more intense? The clandestines chasing Kamala Khan or the velociraptors going after the kids in Jurassic Park?
Yeah, I would say the velociraptors.
All right, fair enough.
That's a great one.
A velociraptor staring through a circular window, breathing.
Yeah.
That's a little
The
scary.
scream. The scream.
But when it comes to Kamala's use of her powers, she's starting to really, it's becoming second nature, even to a point where I think the powers step in on their own. Like when she gets hit in the chest, I don't think she had anything to do with protecting herself. I just think it happened. And I think that's how they wanted us to portray it. But we can see Kamala running away up the stairs, for lack of a better term. What do they call the blue whatever? Like, do we the Nor lights? I really don't know.
The Nor lights.
The Nor lights.
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, it's not.
We haven't named them yet. Jello.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, but she's clearly, and I mean, they showed that in the last episode where she's getting use of her power. She's getting used to using her powers. She was able to use them to protect herself pretty well. Again, when I think she got hit in the chest, I don't think she had anything to do with that.
Yeah.
I think that it did it on its own, which is obviously going to be very valuable later on.
I will say real quick, I did love that she embiggen punched that guy across the room, and then I think Jax was talking about this, but when she used her fists to kind of do like a whirly, I don't know what the word is for that.
Yeah,
but
like
whirl around and hit him. Yeah, there you go.
It was so fast. I wasn't even sure that's what happened. But you're okay now that you're saying it tells me that my eyes did not deceive me.
Yes, I hope we get a full one before the season ends.
So where we currently stand, we talked about the train a little bit ago. Do you have any theories on this train? I think the reason the grandmother also saw it is because she has bracelet number 2. The word bangle, just doesn't work for me. But bangle number 2 is in Pakistan with Aisha's daughter, aka Kamala's grandmother. That's why I think she saw the train. So I think they're going to be able to put both of these together, and hopefully whenever they open a door to the Noor dimension, that things don't go boom. I would assume that that's not going to happen. But do you have any other theories? What's going on with this train? Where we're headed next? Any ideas there?
I think the bangle should be called a cuff. It looks more like a cuff.
Yeah, I'm good with. I like cuff. If they're not gonna be the 10 rings, then the cuff. I'm good with that.
Fisticuffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're gonna go back home. Although she does have to convince her mom to take her, so they're gonna have a little come to Jesus moment.
I think that's this episode. I don't think they get back there until the 5th episode. I think this next episode is gonna be a lot slower paced, and kind of her mom and her, like you said, having that come to Jesus kind of just going from there. Obviously, things are going to happen too. Like the story's going to evolve because we're going to at least get more. I mean, will the clandestines be up front with damage control? Probably not, which will be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Damage control doesn't really know what they're doing, though.
No, they don't. I like that they brought that guy back, though.
The one from Succession?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The guy from No Way Home? He's a doofus.
He is a doofus.
All right. I really don't know where we're headed. I
don't either.
like this show though. Like I'm happy with how it's progressed. It seems at this point that the pacing is right on where it needs to be, which isn't always the case with MCU on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I think Hawkeye's the show that has done it best since WandaVision. So I really don't know. The 4th episode of Moon Knight was again, people remember Moon Knight being a massive 4th episode because that's where he died and woke up in the asylum, like all that kind of stuff. But nothing else really happened in that episode. So we did get one question before we came on air. What is the difference between the multiverse and a dimension? Now, Alex Klein put this in a good way, but Sarah, do you have a way of answering that question before I kind of read what Alex had said?
No.
Okay.
Alex is much more eloquent.
Basically, the way Alex put it, and it's the best way for me to understand it, and I'm going to see if I can find it because I just want to read Alex's words directly. Okay, you're looking down a hallway, and there are a bunch of doors. As you walk down that hallway, that is you moving forward on a timeline. You can open these doors, and these doors are to other dimensions. Now imagine an identical version of you doing that exact same thing in a different hallway. That is the multiverse. So as a dimension is a doorway in a hallway, which is that timeline. The multiverse is a completely different hallway with its own doors. That's the best way that we can describe it. This is where I get concerned with where phase 4, phase 5, phase 6 is headed. That could leave the general fan out, like, because they don't know what's real, what's not, what's a multiverse, what's not. That's how you bring dead people back. Like again, if Tony Stark ever comes back into the MCU, I'm going to be super bummed.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever happen, but like I want his sacrifice to count and to remain that way. But if we're going to start talking dimensions, we saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Say what you will about the film. He now has 3 eyes for some reason. And Clea is out there doing her own thing. She's from the dark dimension. She's like, there's dimensions. So these are the rooms within that one hallway. And then there's multiple hallways. I like to picture this happening at the Stanley Hotel from The Shining, where there's just, so you can go in these doors, go into these dimensions, but it all happens in one universe. Then there's multiple levels with different hallways. It's going to get really confusing. What I can promise you here on Earth's Mightiest Weirdos is we're going to be able to keep it straight, and we will explain it to you as the best that we possibly can. Sometimes it involves Stephen King references in The Shining and the Stanley Hotel and doorways and hallways. We will do our absolute best to be able to keep that straight, but that is the answer to the question that was asked before we came on air. Marcia, any last thoughts on Miss Marvel?
Well, just to put a little bit of put it in a little bit of a category there, but growing up, of course you don't remember it, but when I was a little girl, probably, I don't know, the Adam West Batman series, it was real Adam West and Robin, and they were real characters, Julie Newmar, and but they would put those little cartoon, they would splash the little cartoon things on the screen, pow, and that it just kind of I'm just thinking that's probably where they're getting this from. Yeah. And because that appealed to kids.
It appealed to me. Still kind of does. I totally understand that. Yeah, you're right though. The Sloth Baby Productions and kind of, the pow and the bam and really comic book accurate stuff. I love the Adam West Batmans, and I always will love the Adam West Batman. Yeah. I'm completely good with that. Sarah, any final thoughts on Miss Marvel, where we're headed, or any final excitement for Thor: Love and Thunder that we need to keep our eyes on?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for that movie. I'm looking forward to seeing how this ties into Captain Marvel 2. I'm knowing that Iman Vellani is going to be in Captain Marvel 2. I think there is a lot of potential for these next 3 episodes, and I'm just so excited.
Well, and that's and we talked about this earlier as well when they talked about how Iman Vellani was going to debut here and then move to the big screen. I shortchanged her, and I feel really bad about it. But everything we saw from her her Zooms with Kevin Feige and stuff like that. I just wasn't sure how it was going to translate to the screen. And this girl is a natural actress.
Yep.
Like, she's very believable. I'm not worried about her jumping to the big screen anymore, and I'm very excited to see it.
Yep.
One more question, Marcia. Do you think that either Monica Rambeau or Carol Danvers will make an appearance in the show, if nothing else, in a post-credit scene for episode 6?
Well, that's a good question. I would think they would try to tie Carol Danvers into it,
Yeah.
to kind of bring it together, you know.
They're teasing it a lot.
Well, and if they're throwing shade at Carol, if Bruno's at least throwing shade at Carol, is it going to have a level of don't meet your heroes aspect to it? I hope not. I really don't know. I don't know how you put Iman Vellani into the Marvels without something in a post-credit scene. I don't know. Like, Brie Larson to be the big one. That's getting Carol Danvers. But I think of really Monica seeing the value of Kamala and then bringing Kamala to Carol would also be really interesting. But as far as we've been led to believe, Monica is in space. She was being summoned at the end of WandaVision, and she's up with Sword in space. So we really don't know who is up to anything. If I had to put money on one of the two showing up, I would put a lot of money on one of the two showing up at the very latest in a post-credit scene for the final episode. But if I had to pick one, I think it would be Monica, personally. But either one, I'd be excited to see either one of them. And the connection could simply be Sword or Damage Control. But I do think we're going to get some familiar face. At least I hope so.
I think so.
Well, that is it for Earth's Mightiest Weirdos. Again, we will not be here next Monday. I hope everybody has a happy 4th of July. And we will be back on July 11th at 8:30 Eastern. Marcia, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And Sarah, thank you so much as well. Until next time, everybody, for the children.
Happy 4th.
Earth's Mightiest Weirdos is brought to you by Pinch of Pixie Dust Travel. People who love travel understand that life isn't about the breaths you take, it's about the moments that take your breath away. That's why we help coordinate the most magical adventures for you and your family. Disney, Universal, Sandals, Norwegian, Carnival, and more, we are a full-service concierge travel agency that will help with every aspect of your journey. Let us take care of the details while you enjoy your family. Get a quote today by calling us at 570-832-7798 or fill out a trip request form at pinchofpixiedusttravel.com. Just follow the second star to the right straight on to your adventure. That's pinchofpixiedusttravel.com, where you're making memories one trip at a time.